I just want to welcome everybody to another session here on URCO. And I want to talk about something that is just, unbelievable. Some of you know, last night, LeBron James, he was able to break the scoring record that has held true for over 30 years. And here we can learn something from that about entrepreneurship. Now, I am out here on location at my home at my own private basketball court next to, my friend here. You all remember Tom Hanks? He had that volleyball that was with him on that movie and called it Wilson. But this is Wilson. This is the real Wilson basketball. And it's been a friend down through the years. And here on this court behind me, I like to come here, get my mind off of things. And I want you to know what we witnessed last night was just amazing. And I want to talk about LeBron James and who he is and who he's shown up to be and how that relates to entrepreneurship. And we've been talking about a lot of different things on this channel. And I've got a special treat for you, though. I'm actually going to be bringing in a good friend and one of my executive leaders into this discussion because he also, now I grew up playing basketball, was an accomplished athlete, basketball player. This is another accomplished athlete, a very successful basketball player. And we even had the privilege of playing against each other at times, playing together at times. And bigger than that, just the friendship that we've garnered and him being now one of the key executive leaders on my team. It's a great honor to be able to bring him, to this, because before I get into the meat of this, I'm going to talk to you about 7 things entrepreneurs can learn from the unbelievable accomplishment of LeBron James. And so I want to now bring on Mr. Terry Fulton, and I am going to pull him in here. And all right, Terry, I see you there. Let me get some gallery view going there. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, sir.
Well, listen, first of all, look, it's just good to see you. I just want to say that first and foremost. It's just good to see you. And I see you got your URCO shirt on, and I do too. It's good to see you. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm here at the office holding it down for you.
That's right. Now, I appreciate that. Leaders lead. And I'm glad that you are there leading. And Terry, I know, we talk basketball all the time. And just being the people who have loved the sport, how did you feel last night when you saw Kareem's record broken by LeBron James?
I thought it was amazing. Quick story. When I was playing high school basketball, I used to travel down to Southern California and participate in some basketball camps. And one of the years, Kareem was actually there. And if you, I know you do, you study history and everything. So I was able to sit with a group of campers after the camp was over, and he just felt like talking that day.
Really?
And he just started to express, just life experiences and, the activism that he would do, basketball, playing with his teammates, traveling the world, interacting with other athletes like your Muhammad Ali's and different ones that were accomplished as well. And so, I think about that experience. And then here we are, that was in the early 90s. And here we are all these years later.
Right.
And what he was able to accomplish on the court from a scoring perspective, somebody finally broke that record. And I was just kind of sitting there it was kind of cool to see them together.
Right.
On court.
Well, Terry, I'm gonna have to go ahead and request an apology from you. You've never told me that story. You've never told me that story, and this is powerful. What do you mean you said with Kareem and he talked about his acting? I mean, listen, he wasn't just a basketball player. Kareem took some stands in some very difficult times and played in some very difficult environments, and he stayed true even to this day. He doesn't back up on his beliefs. You have to say something about the captain, but why haven't I heard this? I mean, I'm a little bit offended here live, but I'm offended here. But that's powerful.
Well, I'll apologize since this is out in the open. We're sitting there just, vetting out our deepest sincere apologies. But no, I mean, it just didn't present itself, I guess. It's something that last night it triggered. You know what I mean? I hadn't thought about it in a long, long time. Some of those camps I met, Reggie Miller spent time with us, and you know, some of the guys I played against, like I watched Jacques Vaughn on TV coaching KD now. I played against him, or Jason Kidd's coaching for Dallas Mavericks. He's a Hall of Famer. I played against him. So, you know, to see kind of these things happening all these years later, and the success that all of these people had, I know what they went through to a certain extent, and just spending time with them and listening to them talk. So when I saw Kareem embrace LeBron, it all kind of just came back to me.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Let's switch gears to LeBron though, and you know, for the record, we grew up in the Michael Jordan generation, and I know where you at because we talk as ball players, and you know we watched all the same videos during the times. Come Fly With Me, Michael Jordan's Playground, Above the I think he had Above and Beyond it was called, and so many other videos. He made himself very marketable, and we were coming up watching that and I have to say, just for me, when you think about Michael Jordan and the pattern that he set, and just his abilities to impact a game and impact a team, I think just because of what I've seen and how I grew up, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's hard for somebody to take that place of maybe his impact. But when I think about LeBron, and I was thinking about what he did last night, I mean, for the first time, I had to just really kind of sit down and say, you know what, that's not easy. Now, I definitely feel though that there are two different types of players. It's so hard to say who's the greatest. You have to almost say greatest what, because we know LeBron is not really in the Jordan arena. He's probably more in the Pippen area, and some of those that were more, had a more, a well-rounded approach to the game, trying to impact in different ways, versus your Kobe's and Jordans, which was more attackers and offensive minded, but high defenders too. But how does this all sit with you? Because I know the era you come from when you hear what LeBron did and the whole discussion over who's the GOAT.
Yeah. Well, the GOAT conversation, I used to be a lot more passionate about it. When I was growing up, diehard Jordan fan, my walls in my room were littered with Michael Jordan posters. I wore his number in high school. But as I grew, I kind of started to grow out of that kind of fanhood. And I started to become more of a fan of the game as I started to just grow just as a man. I just started to learn to appreciate everybody has different approaches to the game. I mean, think about it. LeBron is a pass first person, but he has the scoring record.
Isn't that crazy?
Imagine if he was had Michael Jordan's mindset.
Kobe mind,
yeah, you know what I mean. But he was pass first, and a couple of weeks ago he moved into number 4 in all-time assists. So it's like when you kind of look at it, I don't think from biases perspective. If I had to choose, I'm picking Jordan first,
right?
In terms of on my team. It's just like a personal bias, but I don't think it's the wrong decision to take LeBron first either. He just approaches the game different,
Yeah. And I think too, as a basketball player, you think about winning, you think about you got to get Jordan, you picking your team. But when you think about, and I know you and I, there was some similarities in our games playing and some things that were very different. For me, being more of like a scorer, and you could score as well and was a scorer and had a lot of point guard mentality too. And one thing that, playing with somebody like LeBron has to be a dream come true, in terms of if you're a basketball player, and we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to go over some things about LeBron and some of the things that kind of are interesting stories about entrepreneurship when you think about it, his type of mentality. But from a ball player perspective, I mean, you do want to play with Jordan, but if you kind of wouldn't mind playing with LeBron, because LeBron is going to make sure everybody's involved and is thinking about the big picture. Not that Jordan couldn't, but his mentality and what he was asked to do at his time in his career was more to focus on scoring.
Yeah, and I think the game evolved too and changed. I think that has something to do with it. But I think both of them, to be honest, are difficult deal with. And you'll probably talk about this. I don't know everything you're going to talk about in those 7 points, but their standard of excellence is just above and beyond what your normal athlete has. And so
Right.
because they have that for themselves, they're going to request that from you as well.
Exactly.
And so, Michael Jordan, he might punch you in the face, right? Because
Yeah.
he's been known to do things like that at practice. Or Kobe Bryant, you heard him telling people put on their, big boy pants and things like that at practice. Right. And, that was their mentality versus LeBron. He might go to management and say, trade him, bring in some new people that's going to play with me, right?
Yeah.
So he had a different kind of tactic. He wouldn't get in your face and all that kind of stuff, but he would remove you from his team if you didn't perform. And so I think both of them but from just pure basketball, you're right. Playing with a LeBron feels really good because he wants you to succeed in areas that most people would want to succeed versus Michael Jordan. He's like, get on my back. I got this. Just do your role.
Right. Or else. And I think that that documentary they did on Jordan, it really revealed a whole nother side to him that I never saw in that level of detail in terms of his mentality, almost a little bit over the top in some areas, right? But when you think about LeBron, I have to admit that his energy is a total different energy, but the desire to the desire to be better every day, to strive for excellence is both there. I think there is this whole issue of when the game is on the line, who do you want to give the ball to, right? I'm probably going with Jordan in terms of killer instinct. But by the same token, sometimes LeBron, he did make the right play. It's like basketball wise, he made the right play. And so it's something to be said about excellence and when you see it. But one thing that's true now for, forever, is he is the scoring leader, and that is just unbelievable. That is a lot of points. A lot of things have to come together to accomplish that goal.
That's right. And a lot of people say, well, he wouldn't have got it if Kareem was able to come straight out of high school like him.
Right.
But at the same token, it's like you look at Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, different ones that came out of high school. They weren't scoring 30 points a game, 20 points a game. LeBron came out of high school playing at this level, and 38 still playing at this level. I mean, that is just fascinating. It shows you the dedication he has. Everybody knows, is well documented, how he spends millions of dollars on his body, and and he's never gotten in any major trouble. No big things in the media, no big controversies. People just don't like him because he's great. You're going to have people that like him and don't, but I just thought it was a really good accomplishment. And I think he followed in some ways Jordan's kind of template of using the game to benefit himself and others as well from an entrepreneurial standpoint. And so I thought he's done a great job.
Oh, that's excellent. That's an excellent segue. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go. I know everyone, I see you all coming on here to this YouTube. So I want to welcome everybody. We are talking about LeBron James, just unbelievable accomplishment in passing Kareem as an all-time scoring leader for the NBA. And now I'm going to go into 7 things that we can learn from LeBron James' accomplishment, his career, his mentality, about how we can apply that to entrepreneurship and how it can be beneficial. So Terry, what I like to do is I'm gonna lay out these 7 things, and then I want to circle back to you and see if you have any thoughts about it. Ball player to ball player, leader to leader. See if you got something on your mind after I share these things.
Sounds good, Chief.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. Well, I want to again. It is just a really great honor to be here with everyone today. I know that a lot of you out there, that are entrepreneurs, you all that are leaders, we all want to be able to glean from people who win, people who have achieved a certain level of success. You don't want to try to glean from someone who's not doing anything, right? You don't want to try to follow someone who's losing and then expect them to help you win. You want to look at people who are winning, people who are doing things that matter, and see what can you actually gain from that? What can you learn from that? And so I'm going to talk about a few things. And when you think about this wonderful accomplishment, maybe think about how this relates to some things in entrepreneurship. And I want to talk about a few things related to that. And one thing that I want to, really look at, the first thing I want to look at is LeBron James. Again, he had a point guard mentality. Now, why is this important and what does it have to do with entrepreneurship? A point guard is someone who is focused on getting everyone involved. They literally have to study how everyone on the team likes to receive the ball, what their energy is like, and making sure everyone's energy stays in the right place to win. They are like the coach on the floor. And as an entrepreneur, you literally have to have this type of mentality. You have to know your team. You have to know how to pull the best out of that team member that is an introvert. You have to be able to pull the best out of that team that is an extrovert. Sometimes someone needs to slow down, quiet down. Sometimes people need to speed up, speak up, and to know what to pull and what buttons to push to get that person to perform. And as you learn, some of you have received some coaching from me, that when you try to really get people to do the thing that is best, it's not always just going and asking them to do that thing. It's not always just knowing what they need to do. It's knowing what button to push to cause them to respond. And that's what a point guard mentality is able to do. Initially, or I should say essentially, a point guard's job is to set people up to succeed, whether that's to score or to make the next best play or to make sure that the team is in the best position to win. And so as an entrepreneur, when you start to realize it's not just about being called the boss, right? Whether you're a team of one that works with vendors or you're a team that manages, 5, 10, 15, or 30 people. And if you've even got up to the hundreds in your business of people that you manage, you have to set every single one of them up to succeed, even if it means putting the right leaders in place to lead teams that you know is going to set those people up to succeed. It still starts with you. And so this is very, very important. Another key thing that I want to mention is just LeBron James has had an insatiable desire to win. And this is something that you just, you can't get away from. Now, some people question, does he have, LeBron have the same mentality as a Michael Jordan or a Kobe when it comes to scoring or the moment or that instinct to, take over a game when it's necessary? And I would say, I don't see that same type of thing in him like that. But in terms of the desire to win, I think that desire to win has been just paramount. I mean, I think he's went to the finals like 10 times or something. His the amount of times that he has went, the amount of games he has won, the desire to win in high school, then coming to the big stage and still taking a franchise that was a losing franchise and causing it to win, and then going to other franchises and helping them win, the amount of games he's won, the amount of points that he's scored now, right? Because when you think about basketball and winning, even though there's many things that really help you win, the number one thing that, it tracks who won is points. And here LeBron is the all-time scoring leader in points for the whole NBA. So it says something about that desire to win. So as an entrepreneur, we have to understand if we're winning or losing, and we have to have a desire to win with our revenue, win with our cash flow. We have to win in terms of making sure that all the key metrics that we measure our business by, things that cause the operation to improve, things that maybe might cause certain things to trend in a better direction for company success. We have to have that mentality. If you don't have that mentality as an entrepreneur and you don't keep, first of all, having something to measure yourself by, and that's what's beautiful about any sport, right? There's measurements, there's out of bounds lines, there's a scoreboard, there's statistics. You have to have that for your business. And then when you have that, it helps you see where you are. And then you want to be able to have a goal so you can determine if you're winning or losing. So that desire to win has to be there. Another thing I want to talk about with LeBron is just his willingness to defend. So a big part of winning is you got to be able to play defense. You got to be willing to defend. You got to defend your team. You got to defend someone that's trying to score against you. And LeBron, I mean, with his size, he's been known for chasing people down and blocking them at the rim. Um, that defensive ability has went along with this game. He's willing to defend. He's willing to bump, and take the pressure when it comes to things you have to do to really cause someone to know that they can't just come in and score at will, especially in his younger days. And so I just want to say that, we as entrepreneurs, we have to have a willingness to defend. We have to defend against the wrong attitude coming into the business. We have to defend against the wrong culture starting to be created in the business. You've heard me talk about culture, how, whatever you do consistently, whatever you allow, right? All these things are, related to how culture is created. And you have to defend the type, you can have a mission statement on the wall, you can have all kinds of, cute slogans and things, but you have to defend those things and make sure that you don't let anyone in the company or even yourself tear those things down. So a willingness to defend that. You have to defend against wasteful spending, things that can cause the business to lose money and end up causing you not to be able to meet your goals. So that willingness to defend is another very, very key attribute. Now, here's another one, number 4, the ability, I'm just going to say staying healthy. So I, I can't say enough. Anybody that's an athlete, for us athletes out here, it is not easy to not get injured. I had a lot of, injuries and things that have impacted me. You saw me just talking to my good friend, Terry Fulton. We're still dealing with injuries to this day from sports. And to see the way that LeBron has taken care of his body, there's a lot of NBA players with a lot of money. Few of them would spend $1 million a year to, make sure their body is good. The nutrition, the fitness, the sleep patterns that are required to keep your body healthy, right? And also to create a reason to stay healthy. He created a reason. His reason was he wanted to stay at the top of his game. He wanted to compete at this level for a long period of time. So as an entrepreneur, what does that have to do with entrepreneurship? Listen, if you don't stay healthy as an entrepreneur, I'm gonna tell you something real quick, that money is great and all the accolades are great, but if you're not healthy, you can't run your business. If you're not healthy, you can't stay on top of your business. If you're not healthy, you can't feel good enough to solve that problem that needs to be addressed, and you'll start to let down, you start to neglect things, you'll start to miss things because you're not present. When you don't feel good, you can't perform. And so literally this scoring title LeBron just won is because he was still feeling good enough to do it when others weren't able to, whether it was injury, whether it was the longevity just wasn't there in their career. You have to give him some credit. And as an entrepreneur, we have to have that longevity with our business. And so it does matter what you eat. It does matter that you have a workout regimen. It does matter that you're trying to figure out how to get better sleep, because there is so much health stress on an entrepreneur. You're always running. You're short on time. You got many different things you have to get to. Many times you are the everything in that business, right? Sometimes I call CEO a chief everything officer. You have to do a little bit of everything. And so it's so easy to lose sight of yourself. It's so easy to lose sight of your body and your health. And when you lose sight of that, you don't realize you're actually losing sight of the business as well. So this is a lot we can learn, that we as entrepreneurs have to remain committed to this area as well. Now, this is another thing, is not um, not losing your personal life. So this was kind of hinted to in our earlier discussion about LeBron, is that you know there's something to be said for how LeBron was able to keep his family together, keep his children together. Not a lot of all kinds of innuendos and gossip about LeBron for 20 years in the NBA. That is unheard of. And keeping that family, structure there is so critical, right? Just making sure you don't lose yourself because of all of the fanfare and all of the traveling and all the things. And this is very true for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are pulled so many different ways, and it takes a toll on your family life. And it's always something that you have to work towards. I still work at that. It's not easy. How do you keep everything in balance? And finding that way to make sure the people around you that you love, that those things stay intact. And so, to all the entrepreneurs out there, you never want your business life to sacrifice your personal life. You don't want your personal life to sacrifice your business life. You have to find that way to have a healthy rhythm, and understanding that there are times, sometimes there's this issue between balance and focus, right? And I like to call it, having a healthy life rhythm. We can do more things at once, but sometimes you need moments of focus so that you can have moments of more rhythm and diversity of rhythm. And so, no doubt, on those times where LeBron couldn't go to had an off night with a game where he didn't have to play that night, or during the summer, there's things he's been doing, to keep his family strong, his wife and his kids. And so this is very similar to entrepreneurship in that we all have to strive for that same thing. We've got to not lose our personal life, because we're trying to build a business, because we're trying to fulfill our dream. Very, very critical. Number 6, I'm running out of room here on my whiteboard. I want to call this strategic positioning. So LeBron, one thing I have to give him credit for, very strategic in his approaches. So, LeBron, he was strategic about going to Miami, because he wanted to learn how to win a championship. And he took a lot of flack for it, and I get it. I mean, I grew up in an era where that type of thing didn't go on. I can't imagine Michael Jordan going to team up with Isaiah Thomas, or Magic going to team up with Bird, or you know Barkley to go team up with Karl Malone. I just couldn't imagine that type of thing. But strategic wise, when you really look at the big picture, you have to give some credit that he did go to Miami and he did win championships. He learned how to win, came back to Cleveland, positioned himself to go back and to the team where his background and his home kind of ties were, and he got a win there in Cleveland. Then he made a strategic move to go to Los Angeles, and he also was able to win there. But more importantly, he's positioned himself to be able to do better business by being in Los Angeles, where there's so much business and things going on. Because LeBron has a lot of talents. He's able to speak, act. He's got a lot of poise. He's able to interact with the media. He's got a lot of brands and products he's selling. So what a move, next to New York. Los Angeles is one of the best places you could be from a business perspective. And he's right there rubbing shoulders with Magic Johnson, who is the ultimate businessman that came out of the NBA. So the way he's positioned himself, and what we can learn about this for entrepreneurship, good positioning sometimes is almost better than having a good product. Being positioned where the customer is, being positioned where the opportunity is, being positioned where success is, right? If you've got a product that's better than mine, but I'm positioned in a place with more customers who want that product, who wins? Does it matter that your product is better? So I'm positioned where people will buy it, right? If you've got something that's better, but I've got a better partner that's going to help more people know about me, who's positioned better? Doesn't matter how good your product is, right? So positioning is very important. Where you position yourself, how you set yourself up to succeed. And this is what we can learn as an entrepreneur. I'm going to tell you that this is a secret in entrepreneurship. It's understanding positioning, how to position your product, how to position your sales strategy, how to position your team, how to position your products, how to position your marketing, how to position the financial investments that you make. All these things are very, very critical. And so last but not least, number 7 here, I would write it this way: setting up his family to benefit uh, from the business. Might be out of room there. But this is big. I want you to notice something. LeBron James is, kind of strategic positioning again, too. But think about this. He has started promoting his children. Both of his sons are playing basketball. He got a lot of his team around him was people he went to school with in high school, close friends. He has literally positioned his children and even his friends to be able to benefit from the business that he has built. And this is sometimes what entrepreneurs forget about is when you build this thing called a business, you want a legacy as well. How can you protect that business and make sure it goes to people that you love in terms of the benefits of it, whether it creates jobs, whether it is eventually ran by those individuals? So LeBron is, we talk about you are a CEO, being a CEO of your life, the CEO of your business, the CEO of your attitude, the CEO of your money, the CEO of your health, right? CEO, we're all about what do we really mean? The decision maker, right? That's what this community is about. We're a community of leaders. It starts with self-leadership and it goes to entrepreneurial leadership, professional leadership, and so much more. And what he has done is transition from just not even just being a CEO, which runs the company, but thinking like an owner. And an owner gives directions to the CEO to run the business. Like, here's the goals that I want you to strive for. He's actually taking a step back and thinking about how to set up his children to come into the business he was in, and now they will be millionaires. They will have those opportunities. Now, they got to bring the talent. They got to take advantage of the opportunity. They got to perform. They got to meet the need. But don't you think that the whole world is now watching them because of how he's positioned them? He's doing commercials with them. He's going to their games. He's saying he wants to play with them before he retires. All these things is in the minds, is planting seeds. And it's such a smart move. And when you think about entrepreneurship, you have to think about not just the business, but what the business is going to create, what the business is going to generate, how it's going to help others, what it's going to actually do for people that you love, even in how you can use those resources to do things that you're passionate about. Sometimes people make the mistake of trying to make their passion their business, but instead you got to make a business that fulfills on an opportunity that's in the marketplace so that that business can win. Then take the success of the business and then fund your passion. You get the two mixed up, you'll never get to the business that can actually benefit anyone. So you have to know the difference. All right. So I hope y'all like these 7 things. Let me come back here and stop my share there. And I just want to, let those 7 things kind of resonate. And this is what we can learn as an entrepreneur. I'm going to bring Terry Fulton back, which I know was listening to this whole thing. And Terry, let me get this in gallery view here. And can you hear me okay?
I can.
Awesome. Well, give me some thoughts about all that. I really, really wanted to hone in on these 7 things that really just stand out to me and their direct correlation to entrepreneurship. What do you feel about some of those things we went over?
I think the shirt that we are wearing sums it all up.
Yeah.
It's very few people that understand that they are the CEO of themselves. People know that they're CEOs of a company, but they don't understand that they're the CEO of themselves. And when you look at LeBron James, even when he was in high school, he understood that LeBron James, that brand, that name was a company, and he protected it. He protected it. He fiercely protected it. And so by understanding that, you can see the different things that he did throughout his career. First, you got to be good at what you do. And he was. And because he was good at what he did, his value began to increase. And he understood his value. He surrounded himself with people that he knew and loved, but he didn't do it as an entourage. He put them to work.
Right.
He gave them opportunities themselves to grow and develop as entrepreneurs as well. And then that began to, because he was duplicating himself. And then when you start to think about, and I know you'll love this, when you start to think about, there was an interview that I watched him do one time and asked him what they want his legacy to be. He didn't say I wanted to be the best player in the world. He didn't say I wanted to be the all-time leading scorer. I want to have.
Right.
He said I would like to be the most marketable athlete that ever lived. That's where
Yeah,
his
I remember
mind
that.
was. That's where his
Yeah,
mind was. And that was like years ago. That's where his
right.
mind was. Right. And so you look at his investments and his portfolio, what he invests in outside of basketball, very strategic. He invests in things that are health oriented because he values his health. There are things that he puts his money into that he really believes in, and they become successful as well. And then the other last thing I'll just say is even the whole thing of how he did his contracts. He
Yeah,
created this new brand of contracts.
he did. Yeah,
I'm going to do a 2-year contract with a player option in year 2. So I have my freedom to take my brand anywhere that I want to take it. And people had to bow down to that. And the rest of the league benefited from his mentality. And so when you really just start to think about his approach, a lot of people from the old guard don't like it.
right.
But when you really start to think about it from a systematic standpoint and you know
And a
how
bank account standpoint.
bank account standpoint,
Yeah,
the freedom that he created for himself, his friends, and his family, I mean, just hats off to what he's been able to accomplish.
yeah. And I really love. Thank you so much for what you're adding here. And I was thinking, Terry, when we think about the business of you, and I want entrepreneurs to really get this and understand this is, you know, in business, you can build a business and then you have an idea. People will go to investors, people will invest in that business. You want to make the business successful. And then one day you want to sell the business, right? Just to be really simple. When you think about the business of you, though, and how it correlates to entrepreneurship, we can learn a lot from both what LeBron did and also what entrepreneurship means. So first, he, like you said, you have to bring it first. Like
Mhm.
some people just want to, like, I'm gonna start a business and be successful, and they're not in the gym, so to speak. I'm speaking in different parables here, but
Mhm.
they're not in the gym. They're not shooting free throws. They're not lifting weights in terms of the books they need to read, in terms of the people they need to follow, and buying the programs. I don't care how much money you have to spend to make sure that you get the knowledge that you need as quickly as possible. LeBron studied history. He studied what Bill Russell did, and going all the way back. He studied the Jordans and the Magics, and he put work in as a young man, even being in the inner city without a lot of opportunity around him. And he began to get his business strong, right? I like how you said value, get your value high. So now if a business's value is going up, then people want to invest in something that they see is going to have more value. Even in entrepreneurship, investors only invest in your business because they think you're going to make more money one day than you have now. So when you put the work in, right, and I hope you all can get this, especially our entrepreneurs out there listening, you're able to sell stock in you, though, right?
Mhm.
I want to buy your product. I want to, give you my email on that opt-in page on the internet. I want to buy your program, your coaching session. I want you to do my service because I see you've put a lot into what you do, and you're able to show me what you can do. And then the more that I'm able to do that, then people will go on that journey with me, and eventually I'll be able to sell more and more products because I'm producing more and more value. And as more and more people are benefited by me, they tell more and more people, and my network begins to grow. And then my positioning starts to change because of all that I've done. But where did it start? Is I have to put value within myself so that there's something marketable about me. And this is more than getting a degree or getting a certificate or getting some followers online, but really making sure you know your stuff and you're committed to growing.
Yeah. And and he took advantage of every single opportunity that came his way. And it's amazing when you kind of really start to think about that. And that was part of his mentality. He benefited from King James. He benefited from that. He benefited from the chosen one. He benefited from LBJ.
Yeah.
He took all those different opportunities and made that a part of his brand, who he was, how he carried himself. And it's just, and it's very rare what we're talking about. And, he's an active NBA player that has a net worth of $1 billion and upward. Active,
Yeah,
right? Michael Jordan's came afterwards, which
that's
is
right.
impressive because they
Yeah,
weren't making that kind of money back then.
right, right.
But active, or, that's what breaks my heart about Kobe Bryant, because he was arriving in that place,
He
right?
was.
He
Yeah,
took that Mamba mentality and turned it into something that was benefiting so many people,
right.
um, through media and speaking and programs. And so there's very few people who think like that. A lot of people are just playing a sport.
Yeah,
Other people are living a life. It is very
right.
different.
Very well said. And I really like what you're saying there about that mentality and, the loss of Kobe and the mind he had. He was headed in that direction. He kind of got it too, that there was a business side and was bigger than basketball. He was very, very intentional about some of the moves he was starting to make.
Mhm.
And we're, you all that are watching this, I mean, we've always loved the sport of basketball, but, and we're not like focusing on these individuals like, I don't believe in worshiping no ball players or
Right.
nobody but God, right? And I know you feel the same way, but we can learn a lot from just good moves people made, and that's where people make a mistake is sometimes. And I just want to give a shout out to LeBron for, starting a school, trying to do something, in the education space to give back. And people are going to talk about whatever you do. And that's kind of the last area I want to get to, Terry. And we talk about these things a lot in URCO about the mind, how you handle pressure, all these different things. But I think just in closing, I just want to say that regardless of what you think about LeBron, and like I could say, I'm from the Jordan era, and I used to be more vehement about like who are you trying to compare to Jordan? Like just stop it, right? But as I've grown older, I agree with you. It's kind of like you start to see the game differently. You start to appreciate more about it, and you also even start to see Jordan through different eyes too. You kind of can see his goods and bads, in ways that maybe you couldn't coming up, and you were just looking at the talent and trying to, see how to leverage that to be better as a ball player. But something that I really want to say about LeBron and kind of closing here, and it relates to entrepreneurship and just leadership in general, is his ability to take the pressure of the world and the negativity and the trolling and all the things that people do when you are in the public eye. I
Mhm.
mean, I salute. I mean, from the day he came out of high school, it's like there's no way he can live up to this hype. There's no way. Like, I mean, even I was like, man, there's nowhere to go but down from here. But he lived up to the hype. He
Yeah.
stepped. He lived up to that. Then, as he went through all those years, people have called him a crybaby. People call him he's not like Jordan. People tell you not, this and that. He flops. He does this and that. And there's some basketball, you can look at certain plays. It's like LeBron, hey, you flopped on that one. Or hey, LeBron, yeah, you this was that. Like in basketball, things happen. But when people take an incident or a situation or even a behavior you have and they label you and they start to put memes about you and they talk about you, it takes something to hold your head high. Every day you step on that court and keep performing, keep just doing what you do. Like people telling you should play a different way. Like, no, I'm gonna stay true to the way I learned the game. I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm not Kobe. I'm LeBron. And this is how I play. I'm gonna make the best basketball play and even lose like on big stages. And he went several times and he lost several times. And that is a big point. Jordan went 6 times, won 6 times, but getting there 10 times or so, that's not easy to do for anybody. And to lose on those stages and keep coming back in a way that people have to acknowledge that you here and you are a threat. What do you say just about, we talk about conflict resolution, self-awareness, being able to deal with, opposition, because we all are dealing with that as entrepreneurs, as people. Somebody doubts us, somebody doesn't believe in us, somebody says you're not good enough, somebody's saying you don't do like someone else and comparing to someone else. I think we can learn a lot from his ability to rise above that for so long in such a
Mhm.
classy way. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I agree. And they tried to get him from jump. I mean, when he was coming out of high school and everything like that, they started getting on him about 2 jerseys that were, given to him, and they tried to do it from jump, and they've been chasing him ever since. And we all know how they love when those on top fall down because there's a
Yeah.
lot of money to be gained from the fall as well. But again, I think it goes back to Michael, he knows his worth.
Yeah.
It's all wrapped up. So he doesn't just understand his net worth. He knows his self-worth.
That's
He know
good.
he
That's
knows
good.
who he is. He knows what he's about. And we talk about this a lot, just kind of talking about him, but even just with URC as a whole and this whole philosophy about self-leadership and being able, the first thing you got to be able to do is lead yourself before you can lead anyone else. And
Right.
got to have some sort of mentality to where you know what you bought. People don't know what you went through.
Right.
People don't know what you're dealing with, when the cameras aren't on. People don't know those times you cried yourself to sleep at night,
Yeah.
but you woke
Yeah.
up the next day and went back to work.
That's right.
People don't know about, all these different hardships and how you persevered through that. And you bought that. He bought that. I've watched you buy it. We've had to buy it. It's
Yeah.
individual for everyone. When you buy that and you understand your self-worth,
Yeah.
then the net worth is just the cherry on top, because I can have not as much as LeBron, but my net worth is through, or my self-worth is through the roof.
Yeah.
So we really got to understand that part of it, I think. And I think when we get to that place in our mind, then I think that's where you can kind of live above your circumstance.
Yeah, and URCO, for those who know, we call it C bucks. We got another form of net worth, some CEO bucks that we get when you're in our community, for those who know. And you're right. I love that what you said about self-worth, being the first worth that we must all focus on, and it'll bring the net worth in some way. If you really understand your self-worth. Well, listen, Terry, this has been great. I enjoyed talking some shop with you.
Yeah.
And again, maybe we can do this again soon. We're going to, at different times, we can mix it up and talk about different things. I appreciate you sharing all that you've shared. One of our key executive leaders here at URCO. I appreciate all that you do. So I'm about to sign you off. Any final thoughts before you go?
No, appreciate the talk. I enjoyed those 7 points, and I hope everybody got a lot out of it. Great job.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I just want to thank everybody here for being a part of this session. And if you're out there and you are a leader, if you are an entrepreneur, make sure you take these 7 things and apply them to what you do. Take the things that we have been talking about and use it to grow your business, further yourself as a leader and as an entrepreneur. The more you grow, the more you can help others to grow. And when you cause other people to grow, when you serve, don't never worry, the money will come. When you serve people, the money will come. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Michael E. Parker. Until we meet again.